little bit about the project and how you started and how it came out to be.
All right. Well, first and foremost, thank you guys. I know this was the encore. Some of you stayed, and we have a different crowd now too. So welcome. Um, this project started in I want to say 2016 after I had shot Here in the East, which was a little short film that got me a lot of praise. I started winning some awards, and so a lot of people started asking me like, "What are you gonna do next? What's next for you?" And so I said, "Okay, whatever I do next has to be better than the previous project." So I said, "Okay." Um, Mark, who I met during some of those auditions, he said, you should jump into do a horror movie. Everyone does horror. It's a easy way to get into the business. A lot of people like horror movies. So I was like, all right. I just don't want to do any horror movies. So I was like, well, who's your favorite horror writer? I was like, Stephen King. He's like, well, see if you can. I mean, we can't touch that, right? I was like, well, no. But then I was like, let me do some research. So I started researching, and to our surprise, we learned that for about 38 years now, Steven, um, he has a program called the Dollar Babies. So for $1, you can pick any short story and adapt it. He won't help you. You got to raise your own funds. You can mass distribute, so you can only put it on festivals or private screenings or things like that. But I said, hey, that's you cannot distribute it. Yeah, but you can show it here. You can put it on festivals. You can. There's some repercussions online too for online use. You can get the rights, but for that you have to negotiate and stuff. So that's where we're at right now. So we are in negotiations to get the full rights for the story. Um, of course, that'll because it is part of Salem's Lot, and Salem's Lot is owned by Warner Brothers. It's gonna be a different ball game. So, but that's a whole different story. This is actually based on One for the Road, which is one of his short stories, which is like a copa after Salem's Lot. So the book ends, the two main characters kind of flee, and the town burns flat. And so this is about the people who stayed in the town. So like Barry Litterby, Tookie, Booth, Richie Messina, um, I forgot the character's name. One of the characters' name. Bob plays him. No, not Lumley. Oh, Gerard is from Jersey. And so these are people who stayed while Salem's Lot gets gentrified. They kind of stay and they're kind of dealing with the fact that they know what's going on in the town, but they just don't talk about it. There's a huge omerta behind that. And so that was part of the attraction, growing up myself in, East LA in a small little community, how, we have our own superstitions, we have our own dilemmas. And so, growing up and reading Stephen King, my first book was Needful Things. I feel that Stephen deals with a lot of universal themes, not just themes that deal with, say, his side of town, but also my side of town and how I can easily relate to that and say, okay, maybe the experience is a little different, but there are notions there that are similar to that, and just, the attraction to reading that. And so the contract was signed in September of 2016. We rolled camera in 2017, February to May. Post-production took the rest of that year, and then finally we screened it the first time on April of this year. And yeah, so far we're here. The next course will be festivals, and then just let the film kind of take wings from there.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. So, why don't you share a little bit about your fascination with Stephen King's stories?
Well, I started saying, I think again the themes he talks about are universal. I don't think they just pertain to say Maine or him or certain culture. I think that's universal. I think that all of us, which is why I had a diverse cast. I had Adrian Andrade, Russ Andrade, Adrian De Leon, Evan Carver, Sophia, I can't pronounce your last name. Kempe. So different people from different backgrounds and stuff. I think that was part of just the appeal to one day adapt one of his stories was what drove me. In high school, I knew what I wanted to do in life, and so reading different books, being able to read Stephen King at such a young age, and said, hey, I can probably bring this to life. Using my imagination, I brought a lot of that stuff to fruition. And so one day I wanted to actually adapt one of his stories. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know when it was going to happen. but here we are, and this is, one step. Um, I would like to tackle another one maybe in the near future. If, push comes to shove, we'll see which one we can do. So,
Great. You mentioned like future films, maybe showing this at other film festivals. Is there one coming up that you're planning on showing?
I know we are going to continue doing like more like private type screenings for the rest of the year because the holidays are coming, and a lot of the festivals right now are focusing more of next year. So I know we have like the Hollywood Reel Festival, Tribeca's coming up, New York Film Festival's coming up. A lot of there's one in San Francisco, Santa Barbara, all over the states. And so I wanted to make sure that the film was ready. That was one of the biggest things. Like as we went showing it, we showed different versions of it. This is it. This is the final cut. We're moving on to different things, and we're just gonna let the film kind of storm its way through the festival circuit, see where it goes, allowing it to breathe and just catch life through there. So, again, I hope you guys liked it. And, just keep an eye out for it as we go on. Make sure I let you guys know. Those who follow me, those who have me on their social media, you'll be notified immediately of it. And, just support it every time it's out. And if I do it here again, I'll definitely let you guys know. And we'll see how it goes from there.
Yes, definitely let us know. What advice can you give to maybe aspiring, like either writers, producers, directors on kind of achieving their goals?
I have a funny story about that. I've been to different Q&As, and everyone has a different response to that. It's always a tough question to answer. In my personally, I would say that the best way to go about it is to, if you want to write, produce, and direct, is to write, produce, and direct. Don't expect anything. Don't expect the calling to come out. You gotta go and do what you have to do to get your foot in the door. Make your films, make them, think of your audience, think of what you want to portray, your vision, realize and bring it to life, and then let it go, see where it goes from there. Don't be afraid of criticism, don't be afraid of anything. Just make your films and let them take flight. In regards to the funny story, I was gonna say, I got a chance to meet Jerry Lewis once, and this is years ago, he's passed on, and there was a guy who got up and he was very brave and bold. He's like, I'm a comedian and people have compared me to you. And, like, what would you recommend? And Jerry grabbed the mic and he's like, yeah, like, I don't have an answer to success. I don't have the key that will turn the door and let you in. He's like, either you got it or you don't, And I was like, oh, okay, that was rough. So everyone has a different take on it, Pacino would say, if you pursue fame, you're not gonna get anywhere. You just gotta do your thing and see where it goes from there. And so everyone has a different answer. And I would just say again, just do your films, don't be afraid to show them. And just dedicate it. Hard work and dedication will always pay off. I've had the fortune to work in this lot since 2011, working on different shows, and working in different departments, off and on the lot. I've been back now for about a year and a half, so we're gonna go into 2 years now as a production client. And, just being able to walk in here, I tell myself, well, this is what it's all about. This is where it happens. And there's different studios, there's different studios all around us. Technology has now made it more accessible for us to make our films. Cameras are more available to us, whether it's an old camera, a new camera, or even a phone now. You can tell a story. I would say, I quote one of my mentors, Mr. Scorsese, if you have the need to tell stories, just tell them. I am your teacher for that. If not, then this is not the class for you. And so I was like, okay, yeah, I have a need to tell stories, and that's why I do this, because I have the need to tell a story, and I want to tell stories from all sides of life. I feel our stories are all universal. We're at a moment where the game is changing. There's more representation coming along. I'm happy about that. and I'm starting to see where it goes. I'm in for the ride. I'm swinging and see where it takes me. And I'm grateful to have people around me who have supported me, my 5 producers, my co-producers, my casting crew. Um, but yeah, right now I want to open it up to questions. If you guys have any questions, anybody?